we said y equal to 0, and then we got x squared minus 3 equals 0. Is there any particular way that you would like to solve this equation so we can determine the x-intercept? The y-intercept is very clear, is 0, comma, negative 3. But what about determining the x-intercepts? Any particular way of solving this? Any method that you can think of that is the easiest here? Well, the easiest, yes, go ahead. Please.
Write 3 by both sides.
Very good. Excellent. And then?
And then
it's called the square root. Excellent. But remember, we have to get 2 solutions. So we get x equals plus or minus the square root of 3. So this intercept is the square root of 3 comma 0. And this intercept is negative the square root of 3 comma 0. Applying the square root, taking the square root property. One of the problems in my lab math, can I remove this, or you need more time? Deals with determining monthly loan payments. And this is a very good formula to remember. You don't have to remember it by heart. I mean, it will be given to you. I don't recommend you sit there and memorize it. But I do have, which I think is one of the best calculators that TI came up with. That's, in my opinion, is TI 86. And I do have a formula that I saved. I will probably have to turn on this light a little bit. Maybe I'll move it a little bit to the left or something, but it may be a little bright, but I don't know if you can see if I don't turn it on. So give me any amount of money that you would like to borrow. Just give me an amount. Any amount that you would like to borrow. Let's say you want to... 10,000. Perfect. Here it is. 10,000. For how many years? So when do you want to give it back? In how many years? 5, 6, 10, 3 years. Excellent. And now also you have to tell me what is the interest rate. What are you charged? 3%, 4%, 1%, whatever. 3%. So this is 0.03. So I click enter, and it tells me the monthly payment. The monthly payment is $290.81. It will be fixed for the term of the loan of 3 years at 3%. And what I did, I just entered this annuity formula in the graphing calculator, and whenever I needed some money, and maybe for a mortgage, maybe for a car, whatever, I went to the bank with this and say I want to borrow this and this, and I would calculate the monthly payment before they even entered it in their computer, and they would all ask me, oh, how did you do that? So this is the formula that I think we should all know. And here it is. I think I'm on page 5. Yes, I'm on page 5. Here it is. You find it on page 11. And it is the monthly payment, M, equals the principal, what we wanted to borrow, R divided by 12, R being the interest rate divided by 12, parentheses, 1 plus R divided by 12 again, raised to the number of, raised to n, which is in months. So n is in months. In my formula, I changed that into years because that's what I wanted to do it. So I put the formula in such a way that I just put the number of years in there, but you can leave it alone and put in a month. 1 plus r divided by 12 again, to the same number of n, number of months, and minus 1. So let's see how we do this if we don't have the formula entered in the graphing calculator, and I'd like to look at problem 34 on page 11. So at Henken Bank it says, Ken takes out $100,000 mortgage. $100,000. At an interest rate of 4.8%, which we already have to change into 0.048. Any questions? Everything okay? So for a loan period, so for time of the loan, term of the loan of 30 years, which is 30 multiplied by 12, which is 360 months. What is the monthly payment? I don't know what type of calculators you have. So I am going to use 84. As I said, I think 86 is one of the best calculators they had, but this is more sophisticated. It has a lot of other things that the old one, probably 20 or 25 years old, does not have. So we're going to use this calculator. Now the question is, first of all, let's enter each and every piece of information, and we have to be extremely careful. I don't trust their parentheses. You may, that's fine. I don't. So I will have to put the parentheses that I think need to be put in for a correct answer. So now let's enter all the information. So for the monthly payments, we have the principal, which is 100,000. We have the interest rate divided by 12, so multiplied by 0.048 divided by 12. In parentheses again, 1 plus. The interest rate is again 0.048 and divided by 12. We already calculated the number of months, so this is 360 months. This is the power. So I just want to make sure that you understand how I'm going to enter it. I'm going to have parentheses around the numerator, and I'm going to have parentheses around this fraction. And of course the parentheses for this piece raised to 360. Also, that's me. I will also put parentheses around any power. You can say that's exaggerating and this calculator doesn't need it. I agree. Do whatever you think is best, but I will put always parentheses around any power. Okay, now let's enter the denominator. 1 plus 0.048 divided by 12, everything raised to 360, and minus 1. And now the parentheses that I will use in the calculator. I will have to use parentheses around the entire denominator. Of course, these parentheses will stay, but I will also put parentheses around the power. Okay, are we ready to start putting the information in? So I start with the left parenthesis. 100,000. Another parenthesis. 0.048 divided by 12. Close. Open another. 1 plus 0.048 divided by 12. Close this parenthesis. Put the caret for the power, caret, in parentheses. Again, 360. Close. Come down from there to close up with this parenthesis. Now this is divided by. left parenthesis, another left parenthesis, 1 plus 0.048 divided by 12, close, put the caret for the power, parentheses. It may not require parentheses, but if it's a negative number, it may. So that's me. I want to be on the safe side. Come down from there, put -1, and close the parenthesis. I'm used with the old to using the old calculators that do not have those sophisticated, it takes up and down, and parentheses are not needed for all of them. So, but I just don't want to mess with that. If you are comfortable with the calculator and you know for sure that it will do without, it will give you the correct answer without parentheses up here, I'm fine. So let's press enter. So this is the result, $524.66 or 67 cents. So the monthly payment, $524.67 per month to pay back this loan. Any questions? Any questions on how to apply the formula? Any questions on what we entered? If not, we'll move on. I don't have anything else. Oh yeah, I do have one more problem that I wanted to. The annual yield. I'm so sorry, I didn't turn off my phone because of... Judy, I'm in class.
Okay, I may or may not make our game, but I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Bye. I didn't turn it off because I wasn't sure whether students have difficulties to get in the Zoom session. Any questions again about any of this? Any questions? Anyone? Are we okay?
Alright, but
Yes, please.
my screen's a little blurry, but what's the answer?
524.67 per month. Did anyone else get the same answer? Did anyone else get the same answer?
Are you supposed to put the parentheses on like the 360?
Depending on your calculator. It's a very good question. Depending on your calculator.
Okay.
If it's an old calculator, you should. If it's a newer model in the last few years, then maybe not. But I don't know which type of calculator everyone has, so...
And then what's that symbol for the interest? It's a little blurry, like the after the principal.
R.
Like the
Lowercase r.
Like the R.
Lowercase r. R. So R is the interest rate.
Got it. Thanks.
No problem.
Oh, wait, give me one second, please. Let me just write this down.
Everything else okay? Good. So I do have one more problem that I would like to... Do I still need it here? So I do have another problem before we move on from R.1. Find the annual yield as a percentage to 2 decimal places. So problem 42 on page 12, the annual yield. And the annual yield has a formula as 1 plus R divided by N raised to N minus 1. And N is the number of times interest is compounded. Number of times interest is compounded. Compounded means recalculated per year, of course. So we are told that the annual interest rate is 4.1%, so R, 4.1%, and they're telling us that the interest is compounded quarterly. So n quarterly. What does that mean? How many quarters are in the year? Very good. So all you have to do is 1 plus, of course this has to be changed into 0.041, 0.041 divided by 4 raised to the 4th power minus 1. Calculator, left parenthesis, 1 plus 0.041 divided by 4. Close the parenthesis. You already know me. I know it's possible that this calculator does not require parentheses. I never cared to check because I have to show that for students who have an old calculator anyway. So here it is. 2 decimal places, 0.04. One six. So they're asking us interest rate and the compounding percentage. Let's just change it into percent. So 4.16%. I don't have anything else to refresh your memory or show you if it's new to you from this section. I'm ready to move on to functions and models, but it's up to you to tell me whether you have any questions first. Any questions? Any questions for me? Or we move on? We move on? Anyone? Okay then. Okay, R.2, functions. Okay, so I'd like to start with the way we read a function. So if you give me a function that is, let's say, x squared minus 3x plus 9, let me tell you what I see. I see the pattern, I see the model. Here's what I see. This is what I see. So if you ask me to find f of 3, then I'll put 3 here and here and here. If you ask me to find f of x plus h, I will put x plus h, x plus h, x plus h. If you ask me to find f of 0, then this is 0, this is 0, this is 0. So the point I'm making here is to understand the pattern. The pattern for this function is this. Take the input, square it, subtract 3 multiplied by the input, and then add 9 to the answer. This is extremely important because we are going to look at what is called the difference quotient and determine f of x plus h. So we need to be able to understand what the function is telling us. Before we evaluate any problem from your text, I'm just going to show, let's say, a rational function. Rational function. Why is it a rational function? Why is it called a rational function? Because it's a ratio of 2 polynomials. Let's say x squared minus 3 over x plus 1. And let's suppose I'm asked to find f of 2. Let's make it negative 2 to make it a little bit more interesting. So when I evaluate, so this is evaluate. In other words, find f of negative 2. This is what we are trying to find. Evaluate. Okay, all I have to do, I'm looking at the pattern. The pattern is this. f of whatever is whatever squared minus 3 over whatever plus 2, plus 1. So negative 2 needs to be in parentheses because I have to square it. If it were positive, I would have not put parentheses in this case. Minus 3 divided by negative 2 plus 1. By the order of operations, I have to square first. So negative 2 squared is 4. Then I have 4 minus 3 at the top. Negative 2 plus 1 will be negative 1. The top is 1. The denominator is negative 1. So the answer is negative 1. Can anyone give us the ordered pair that we just determined?
Negative 1, negative 2.
Very careful. One more time.
Negative 2, negative 1?
Yes. X is always first, and Y is always second. Everyone okay with that? Always answer no matter what. You're helping me. Maybe there is something I didn't explain. So don't be afraid to be wrong. It's okay. Okay. I would like to talk, before we continue and evaluate and determine different things, I would like to talk about something that we're going to see for a big chunk of the semester. It's called, but I'm going to start with something else though, the average rate of change. Average rate of change of a function between 2 points. If my camera needs adjusting because it's not clear, please tell me, because I'd like you to have the best experience here. Does this camera need adjusting?
No, it's good.
Okay, but let me know. I did have one glitch one time last week also. My internet was low or something, and no one could see anything. So always keep me on the right track. Okay, so here's a graph. This is probably one of the most important topics so far. Let's say I have a graph of a function, which is f of x. And let's say I have 2 points. Here's one point. Here's the other. I'm going to call this point A. I'm going to call this point B. I'm going to say that the coordinates of A, the x coordinate is x1. It's the first point. The coordinate of B, the x coordinate of B is x2. Can anyone give us the y coordinate for these points? So what is this value and what is this value? Of course you don't have numbers, you cannot give me numbers. This is not what I'm asking. I'm asking in the context of the problem, what is this height and what is this height? And that's why I asked you for this. So what will you say? What will this height be? For this being x1, what will this be?
Y1?
Correct. And is there another way?